We've seen this happen throughout the entire history of the US and over the last several decades. So nothing that we've seen in the last couple of weeks in terms of jury verdicts and court rulings should be surprising. The US has a two-tiered justice system, and where you fall in those tiers is driven by how much melanin you carry in your skin. So let's take a quick recap of what's happened over the last 10 or so years and the more recent rulings of the last couple of weeks and how they sit within that two-tier justice system. You had George Zimmerman, who in cold blood executed a black kid in the street. During the trial, he claimed that he was acting in self-defense and feared for his life. He was found not guilty. You have Kyle Rittenhouse, white guy, who carried an illegal firearm across state lines and executed two people. While he was on the stand, he whined and cried and claimed self-defense and said that he was afraid for his life. He was found not guilty. Next, you have Daniel Penny. He choked out a subway rider, killed him in cold blood. He raised millions of dollars for his defense, and he was found not guilty. Another white guy got off because he quote-unquote feared for his life. Are we noticing a pattern? Now, the level of grace that white offenders get isn't limited to just murderers. You have a vast array of rapists and predators who get the benefit of the doubt. We all remember Brock Turner, the 20-year-old from Stanford who raped a woman, and the judge gave him a ridiculously light sentence because he, quote-unquote, didn't want to ruin the kid's life. Then we look at the case of Timothy Hudson. He was a Florida teenager, roughly 16 years old, who raped and killed his stepsister while they were on vacation on a Carnival cruise line. Now, in most circumstances, someone who committed those crimes would be put in jail as he awaits trial. Not in this instance. The judge ruled that he could be released to family members. That's a level of grace that is not afforded to your average black or brown person that gets accused of a crime like this. You have the recent case of Rick Chow, a South Carolina store owner who thought that 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack-Belton had stolen from him. So he and his son chased Cyrus down over 100 yards like an animal and shot him in cold blood. And during trial, Rick Chow stated that he was in fear for his life, and he was found not guilty. Look at the wide range of grace that's given to white and white-adjacent perpetrators when they execute black kids and people in cold blood. It seems like it's the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. If you run around shooting and executing black people, you get effectively a free pass. Now compare and contrast that to the Carmelo Anthony case. Carmelo Anthony was bullied by 3 or 4 white goons repeatedly, and that incident finally boiled over. He was bullied again, and he stabbed one of his attackers and killed him. And as a consequence, he went to trial. And during trial, Carmelo Anthony stated that he feared for his life and he was defending himself. Now, you would think, based on the previous precedent that I just laid out, that he also, Carmelo Anthony also, would have been found not guilty. You'd be wrong. Carmelo Anthony was found guilty and sentenced to 35 years in prison. And what's the key difference in the Carmelo Anthony case compared to all of the other cases that I talked about? Carmelo Anthony is black. And when you're black and on trial in the US, it doesn't matter that every black potential juror was excluded from selection. That's completely fair. That's within the bounds of the law. That's what we call the right to a trial by a jury of your peers. But if you're an objective observer and you take everything that happened with the Carmelo Anthony case and you look at it from a distance, you realize that the fix was in from day one. Texas, a state where you can execute somebody in broad daylight if you feel like your life is in danger, that rule only applies if you're white. When a black kid gets attacked by 2 white goons and defends himself, those rules don't apply. And that is how a two-tiered justice system works. This is a justice system that disproportionately minimizes the value of black life and has a track record of lenience when it comes to letting white attackers and perpetrators off the hook. When you look at that history, when you look at that track record, and this is just a limited slice of recent incidents, and you end up just shrugging your shoulders and saying there's nothing there, your indifference to the regular extermination of your fellow citizens, and particularly Black citizens, is the exact reason why we are living through what we're living through right now. Because you, by your silence and by your apathy, are co-signing on exterminating any and all members of the population that you feel are less than human.